Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers Masterpiece review. Today, thanks to the guys over at HobbyLink Japan, we're taking a look at the latest offering from TakaraTomy. It is MP-29, Destron Military Operations Commander, Destron Laserwave, aka Masterpiece Shockwave. Now, we already have a Quake Wave, we already have a Quake Blast. This time round, are Takara too late to the Shockwave party? Let's find out. Quick look around the box, we get some nice imagery on the back there, along with a little bit of information on Laserwave. We get some nice comparison pictures there between Shockwave, Soundwave and Starscream. And it also tells us he has an LED function. Out of the box, Shockwave comes packaged in his laser gun form. You can see we've also got a mini version of Shockwave to be held by the other Decepticons. We get a clear gun arm, we get a clear hand, a solid hand, a clear fist and a solid fist. We get the backpack section and we also get a separate hose, as well as the Destron Laserwave Masterpiece spec card. I know this is important to some of you guys out there. I know some of you just collect these cards. Not really a fan of them myself, but it's nice that they're still providing them. We also get a sticker sheet filled with Decepticon logos. So that's a nice change. Here he is out of his plastic prison. He's light. I'll be honest with you, I was expecting him to have more weight to him. He's made of a fairly lightish plastic. Colour itself is fairly light as well. Yes, we've kind of been spoiled by the third-party figures. They've done a very good representation of Shockwave. I do like how this looks. The alt mode is nice. The hosing is much better on here than what we got with either of the third-party companies. I'm not a fan of the actual stickers themselves. They're quite papery, I guess. They work, but not overly brilliantly. The stand is quite nice, but again, it's quite a thin plastic. Not really what we've been used to from Takara. I mean, you compare this to something like Soundwave, and you would think this is a knockoff. The design of the figure itself is pretty straightforward, but not without its flaws. We have visible feet syndrome in his gun mode. I'm not really sure how they could have got away with doing that differently because of how the transformation goes, but they are quite clearly visible on that handle. Now, Mr. Laserwave does have a battery compartment at the top here where we can stick two AAA batteries. They are not supplied. And there's also a little battery compartment here where you can put some watch batteries. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those. They're a lot more expensive out here in Canada than they were back in the UK. But with the AAA batteries in, we can now press the trigger. And we have a very gorgeous, glowing, pulsating laser LED. Now, a lot of the TF fans out there do already have a version of Quake Wave. It's a very, very nice toy. Love the deep purple on there. The design isn't vastly different from what Takara have given us. I mean, the transformation is pretty much straightforward. It elaborated a lot on what we got from the original toy. I mean, the original toy I had was the Astro Magnum, which was a fantastic toy. You know, I miss toys like that. The Astro Magnum and the Omegatron, good old grandstand converters. The Fans Toys is a much richer, deeper purple. It's got a lot more heft to it. It does have that die-cast handle. Scale-wise in gun mode, they are not that vastly different. Now, I do prefer the stand that comes with the Takara. The Fans Toys one is literally just a case for the end of the gun, which is okay. But when you bring in the Takara one, it's nice. It's a nice incorporation of that backpack section. It just basically flipped this backpack section round. It untabs, comes back round, slides over, and that's nice. I like that. That's nice, tiny, and compact. Now, I know there are a lot of Hasbro and Takara fanboys out there that won't touch the third-party products. And for those that won't, this is actually a very, very good piece. It's just, I think the third-party buyers have been spoiled. Quakewave and Quake Blast, they've done such an amazing job. They ticked a lot of boxes for fans. But those of you that had held out for the Takara version and don't own either of the other two versions, you're not going to be disappointed. It's a nice figure. It looks the part. Stickers aside, I wasn't a fan of those stickers, but we have the targeting system. We have that LED light. The purple is a little bit lighter and more pastel than I would have liked and than I would have personally imagined would have suited the character. And the design of the feet on the back here, I'm not a fan of that, but it does fit nicely into your hand. It's a good scale piece, and it really does bring back those memories of the 80s, where kids would be running around with this gun shooting each other. Now, there are a few of you that may keep this in his gun mode, but for me, I personally want him in his robot mode, because that's how I really remember him from the cartoon. So to start off, flip down the targeting system, and then bring that section back up, and that's going to come all the way over, and there's a tab on here, that's going to peg in. Untab this section here. These basically hold all of this section here onto the arms. You can now untab these arms and bring them down. That's a gorgeous sounding ratchet on those. And just bring this section out of the way. We can now close this section back off again. This section instantly wants to fall down to the back here. Just let it. We can now rock this over, tab here, that's going to securely peg into the back. Flip Shockwave's head up. It just comes up nicely, emerging from his chest, and just pull it up so it clicks into place, filling out this gap here. Come round to the butt section and just pull these tabs down. This now frees up this section here. You can now split these sections, unfold them down, and rotate them around like this. Unfold down, rotate around. So these sections here are now facing the front of Shockwave. Grab Shockwave's handle, just pry it apart, and come round to the side sections here. You want to lift this section up, open it out, and you're going to straighten out this hinge. And there's a tab just here. That's going to tab together, plugging in nicely. Rotate the foot around to this position, and then the leg itself rotates round, and this section here is going to slide into the leg, and there's a tab on the inside that's just going to slide into that gap, and that's going to tab in, securing that into place. Do the same for both legs. Lift up the hip skirts, rotate the thighs around, and bring those hip skirts back down. Push Shockwave's trigger back inside, and then bring down his fake six-pack abs. And with a little bit of force, they will cover that entire section there. I don't have any nails. If you had nails, it would be a lot easier. Unfortunately, I'm just pushing it down with little stubby fingers. Final touches, just adjust the shoulders accordingly how you'd like them. Rotate the hands and give the waist a little pinch, like so. And here he is, fully transformed up into his robot mode. There is no way of denying it. His bot mode is glorious. He looks amazing. Actually prefer his bot mode to either the Quake Blast or the Quake Wave. It's just something clean about it. The transformation is smooth. It's a lot easier to manage than the other two. It may be because the plastic is lighter and there's less involved, but it was just an enjoyment. It wasn't overly complex, but again, it wasn't the easiest. It wasn't like a 2-step or a 3-step changer. It was just fun. Now, you could easily be mistaken for thinking there's actually a light in the back of his head. There isn't. That is actually light piping. That looks phenomenal on him, doesn't it? The arm section here, that does light up. Unfortunately, that's where we required those small watch batteries. I love the fact we can change out the hands. The hands are actually very straightforward and easy to change out. Here they are all together, all transformed up. Shockwave Laser Quake Wave guy, he looks a little bit small in comparison to these guys. The Quake Blast looks like he's kind of Shockwave on steroids. Quakewave kind of looks like Shockwave's older brother, I guess. But he is definitely the most cartoon accurate, in my opinion. He's got that better head sculpt. I love how his legs look. They're just slender, and they really work. Cracking set of pins he has there. Now, another nice little feature Takara have given us is if we remove this backpack section, just fold these sections here down like this, we can bring in the front of the gun turret, hook that over the top like so. This section here can now just fold up and around, and this section here is just going to thread through this backpack section, and that's just going to secure into place, and that gives him a really nice G1 animation accurate backpack. Now, depending on your preference, you do have various different options for the hands. They're all literally just untabbed, so we can place them on there. I mean, for example, if you wanted Shockwave to have 2 fists, he can now have 2 fists. You can change either or. Same with this side, we can give him a nice, just have to make sure it all lines up. There, we can give him a nice saluting hand, although I believe that's probably for the other hand, isn't it? But you get the idea, it's a nice option that they've included. It's nice because it does add just a little bit more playability to your figure. Now, another nice little feature they've included is a double hinge here. So if you don't like the look of this, you can rotate this around. You can bring your hose to the front, but the elbow works either way, which is really nice. You can have the Decepticon logo on this side. If you don't like that, you can rotate this around. And we have the plain logo on this side. That works for both hands. Articulation-wise, he does have a great range of motion. He has a nice upward motion, left and right. Very, very vast indeed. Gorgeous ratchets on those shoulders. Up and down. We can go on the shoulder as well. It's really nice. They're not too aggressive, but they're not overly soft. There's a great range on each of those joints. We have rotation on the elbow. Again, another really good ratchet there. Elbow bends both ways, and it does bend over the 90-degree mark. We have rotation on the hands. We have a little bit of a flippy-floppy there on the wrist. The actual wrist section itself doesn't rotate because we peg that in for the additional hands. The waist does rotate. We do get a little bit of forward and back motion as well, but that does generally push up those fake six-pack abs. The backpack is a bit of an issue because we peg that in. It does hinder the waist rotation a little bit. I think that's something that you have to kind of give and take with this figure. The front skirts do lift up, giving us full range of motion forwards. Nice bend at the knee, although the joint itself is a little bit loose. There's not enough tension there to support the weight of the body. Legs come all the way out. There's an upper thigh rotation in there. Get a nice bend at the knee. Not quite 90 degrees though. Coming down to the feet, we get pivoting left and right. We get forwards and we get back. It's not the hugest range of motion, but it's enough. I never remember Shockwave being the most dynamic of characters, but the toy itself is pretty darn flexible. Here he is alongside just a handful of his fellow Decepticons. Some of you have been saying he's too short. I actually think Soundwave is a tad taller than him in the animation from what I can remember, so that scale itself works pretty well. Don't get me wrong, I love the hench size of the Quakewave and Quake Blast, but if we are going for accuracy, Takara have done a phenomenal job. And last but not least, let's not forget Senator Shockwave and Ryan Pax. So, what do you guys think? Personally, I think Takara have done a nice job. The plastic quality itself does feel a little thin, and it does feel a little lighter than what we're getting used to. Ironhide was a very, very welcome addition to my Masterpiece collection, and I can't help but think plastic quality-wise they've gone back just a little bit with this guy. It's something about it. It does feel, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit chalkier. The plastic just isn't quite as good as it is with Ironhide. Animation-wise, he is pretty darn accurate to his screen representation. I have no regrets at all purchasing this guy, but that being said, if you own a Quake Wave or a Quake Blast, do I think this is a replacement? Do I think you need to get rid of those? No, not really. If you don't own any of the three, I would definitely go out and buy this version just because it looks the part with the rest of the collection, and it does scale fantastically in my opinion. But, to be honest with you, I personally feel Takara may have been a little bit late to the party. Don't get me wrong, they brought bells and whistles and done a fantastic job, but I can't see that people are going to be getting rid of their Quake Wave or Quake Blast anytime soon. Thanks again to the guys over at HobbyLink Japan for making this review possible. If you've found it informative, feel free to give it a share, thumbs up, and subscribe. And until next time, from myself and Destron Laserwave, goodbye.